Hello everyone and welcome to Film Sandwich. I'm Kid Ron Burgundy, and on today's episode we're going to do a little comparison on some live streaming devices, kind of like a one-man band live stream devices where you can be a little bit more portable. So we're going to be comparing the SlingStudio, the Atem Mini Pro, and the YoloBox Ultra. Stay tuned. Okay, so what do I need here for the, for SlingStudio? I don't even make these anymore, but you need the little router thing here. If you're going to need more than one HDMI input, you need these camera links here. Stack them like that. You're going to need a battery, a portable battery there. And then if you want to control it, you need this iPad. Let's see here, iPad, SlingStudio, iPad battery. All right, so now we got the Atem Mini. All right, Atem Mini. All right, so we got that. That's the little controller unit there. I guess I'm probably going to need a monitor to be able to see stuff. Get a monitor, and a good size one there. And then I'm probably going to need a laptop for some other control and stuff like that. Sending out streams, copying and pasting, that sort of thing. And all right, YoloBox. I got a YoloBox Ultra. I guess that's all I need there. All right, guys, I'm not going to do a long comparison video where I hook all these devices up and go through every single minutia of every single feature that they have, because a lot of the stuff that they do is the same. You know, they do multi-camera switching. You can do chroma key with any of them. You know, they have audio inputs and audio mixers in them. Let's see, what else do they do? They all, can live stream out to platforms like Facebook and YouTube, many other ones. Let's see here, I got some papers here. Oh, I forgot. Atem Mini, I'm going to need a little table wherever I'm doing my stream here. So, oh, I almost forgot. On the SlingStudio and Atem Mini, they don't do network bonding. So you're going to need another device that does network bonding. We have a Peplink Speed Fusion Duo here that is a network bonding solution. Fortunately for YoloBox, they have network bonding built right in. There is a little subscription fee for that, but you have the network bonding right here. You don't need another device. So I can go ahead and tell you right now, out of all three of these live streaming devices, I need the least amount of other stuff with the YoloBox Ultra. I mean, with the Atem Mini, there's no screen here, there's no battery, so if you're going to need power, you're going to need to plug that into a wall socket somewhere, or if you have a portable battery solution, you can use that, of course. But yeah, so with the Atem, you need power and you need a screen. So a screen, they can be all different sizes, but I find with using these Atem switchers, the bigger the better, because then you can see the screen a lot better. Generally, I don't know if you need a computer. I know that if you want to do some software controlling with it, you'll need a computer. And then, of course, it has the Ethernet jack right in the back there. It's got a webcam out, but it has no USB ins. Actually, I think you can use the webcam out as like a USB recorder if you wanted to record or pull files off of there, but it's only one. And then the SlingStudio, it only has one HDMI input in the main little router thing. So if you want more than one, you got to buy these camera links, which are prohibitively expensive. But they are wireless, which is cool. And, battery, you'll need a battery power. You can either power it through the wall or with a battery. And then you need an iPad to do the controlling and seeing what you're doing and everything. So already you need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things here. You need at least 3 different things here. And YoloBox Ultra, you just need the YoloBox. It's all you need. You know, they all do graphics. Let's see. I mentioned chroma key. What else do they all do? I know that the YoloBox, you can stream to multiple platforms at one time. SlingStudio, one platform. I'm not 100% sure about the Atem, but I think it's just one platform at a time. Of course, you can do like restream and stuff like that and do multiple platforms, but of course that's an additional thing that you'll need to do. Let's look at what else we can do. So yeah, SlingStudio, I mean, they're not even making SlingStudio anymore, so it's not really a contender, so to speak, but it's just one that I had laying around that also does live streaming. And, you know, they have its benefits with the wireless camera links and stuff like that, but it's kind of dead in the water. The Atem switchers, I mean, there's a variety of Atem switchers out there. You can get them with HDMI, SDI, you can get them with 4 inputs or 8 inputs, or I think even up to 12 with one of the bigger ones. But of course, those are going to get more expensive as you go. They all will record the streams internally, the ISO recordings. So SlingStudio does that. The Atem Mini Pro does that with the ISO version. And then, of course, YoloBox does that too. I think you're going to be a little bit limited here because you only have the 4 HDMI inputs here, unless you get one of the ones that have more. But you're only going to be able to record those 4 streams. You're not going to be able to bring in any NDI cameras. YoloBox can bring in NDI cameras. SlingStudio cannot bring in NDI cameras. Let's see here. I don't think the Atem Mini can do the webcam inputs where you can have like a webcam camera and plug it in and use it as another source. Also cannot do that with the Sling. YoloBox Ultra can do that. What else here? They all can mix the audio. Let's see here. I believe you can bring in the pre-recorded videos and images and overlays. I know there's limitations with the SlingStudio and the Atem Mini with some of those things. There's only so many that you can do as to where the YoloBox Ultra, it's almost an infinite amount of overlays that you can do here. Like I haven't reached quite the limit yet, but you can bring in, you know, images, pictures, PDF files. What's cool about the PDF files is that you can like go through them like a slideshow. I don't believe you can do that with the Atem Mini or the SlingStudio. YoloBox, yes. Let's see, what other features? Let me look at my little papers here. So something that the Atem Mini can do is that you can hook up your cell phone to it via USB and use that as a internet source. So you can stream. I don't know how well that works. I haven't tested that out. I know a lot of times with cell phone companies that they'll throttle your hotspot speed. So I don't know if it's like hotspot or if it works different with the tethering, because that's what you're doing is tethering. SlingStudio, there is no adding something like that. You have to like have Wi-Fi or Ethernet. If you want to use Ethernet, there's like a little USB-C dongle that you have to get in order to plug a Ethernet cable in. With the YoloBox Ultra, you can choose to use either Wi-Fi, Ethernet, which it has the jack built right into it. It also has a little SIM card tray. If you have like a SIM card from a cell phone company, like you got a hotspot or something, you can put that SIM card there and use the internet off that remotely, which is pretty awesome. Let's see here. Oh, and then you can actually internally bond all of those things with the YoloBox, which if you want to do network bonding with the other ones, you got to have this other like $2,000 device, and they go up from there. There is a subscription fee for the YoloBox network bonding, but they're doing some things behind the scenes with the bonding, so that is why the extra charge. Let's see here. They all do, you know, little video effects, little transition effects. To tell you the truth, they always have like those little wipes and the little clock wipes and the little curtains and stuff like that. But most of us professionals are never going to use those things because they just look cheesy after a while. So we're probably going to just use cuts. But we do appreciate them being there. If we had some other cooler transitions that you guys could put in these devices, that would be awesome. Let's see here, I was looking at something. Oh yes, okay. So they all do the ISO recording where you can record internally to the devices. Actually with the Atem, I think you gotta have a little hard drive or something. But it doesn't have like a SD card slot or anything like the SlingStudio does and the YoloBox does. But what the SlingStudio and the Atem do that the YoloBox doesn't is that you can take your ISO recordings. They have extensions for nonlinear editors. I believe SlingStudio's was Premiere Pro, and Atem Mini was the, what is the DaVinci Resolve, because made by Blackmagic. So they have extensions that you can bring in your live stream with the cuts already cut, ready to go. They can bring those projects within those nonlinear editing systems, and you can go in there and replace those cuts. Say you went to a camera operator that wasn't quite ready, or you thought that they were going to be good, and then they moved the camera to a shot you didn't want. So now you have this one weird little cut in there. You might have a few of those. So what you can do is you can replace those and then you can re-export that out. Let's say if your client wanted like a final copy of the stream that they could like have for their own records or use for other things. Another cool thing that both of those devices do, SlingStudio and Atem Mini Pro, is that you can also, say you were recording with the cameras as well as live streaming, so your cameras were recording internally, you could take those internal camera files and replace the other files, the recorded ISO recordings, with your higher quality camera files, and then re-export it. It'll have all the cuts there. It just replaces the file, retains all the cuts, and then you could export a higher quality version of that live stream for your clients. And you know, let's say you were recording in 4K, but you were streaming out at 720p. Well, you can hand your client a 4K already cut, ready to go video. So that is a cool feature. I really want the YoloBox people to incorporate that into the YoloBoxes out there, because you know, why wouldn't you want to not have a way to bring that back in? I mean, even if say you weren't live streaming and you were just using these devices as a multicam editing solution, so you didn't have to edit later, you just edit it live. That just makes it, you know, easier and more efficient for you to get the content to your clients. Another thing that these devices, the SlingStudio and Atem, let you do that the YoloBox doesn't is that if you do have pre-recorded video files that you're bringing in, you can scrub through them and queue them up to where you want them to be, just in case the video file isn't exactly where you want it to start. And I've noticed in the YoloBox, they do not have that feature. You cannot scrub through your pre-recorded video files and pause it and stuff like that. So that's a feature that I wish the YoloBox did have. Another thing that the YoloBox Ultra at least can do that these other devices cannot is that it can stream either in a horizontal format or a vertical format. So that's great, you know, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, you know, all the traditional sites that you're going to do a horizontal stream. But let's say you're on TikTok or Instagram and you want to be able to live stream there, but those are better if they're vertical. So you can actually live stream vertical to 2 locations at once with the YoloBox Ultra. These other devices, there is just no vertical streaming options. Another thing that the YoloBox Ultra can do that the others cannot is it can bring in NDI sources. So if you have some cameras that are NDI enabled, a lot of times those are like pan tilt zoom cameras, and then there's some other, I think some JVC cameras and stuff out there that have NDI built in. The YoloBox Ultra can bring that in as a source if they're all on the same network. These other two, Atem and the SlingStudio, do not have that option. They all can do picture-in-picture stuff and graphics and transitions and little effects and chroma key. They all do that fairly well. One thing about the Atem switchers is you can get them in a SDI flavor instead of HDMI, and there is no options for that with the SlingStudio or the YoloBox Ultra. Maybe down the line the YoloBox can decide to like add some, like maybe make a version that's SDI equipped, because SDI cables, you can just do way longer cable runs than you can with HDMI without losing any quality or dropouts or anything like that. Let's see here. Some things about the SlingStudio. Number one, that company is under. They're not making any new devices. They're not resupplying. They're not pushing out any firmware upgrades. They're pretty much dead in the water. I just wanted to use it because I have it, and I do still use it from time to time, but it's not growing. It's not getting any better. With the Atem Mini, I mean, it's black magic. They're pumping stuff out. I don't know how often they do firmware upgrades, but you know, their system is more of like a tactile system that you can feel all these buttons, and you can even like, without even like looking at it, you could probably figure out which button is which. These other two are screen-based, so you do not get that tactile feel. So that is definitely something. Blackmagic is a big company. They make cameras and live switchers and all kinds of other little different camera devices, even really high-end stuff. So they're going to be sticking around, I would imagine. They're going to be keeping updating their products. They're going to be making new products. YoloBox, it's pretty much the same. You know, they're kind of more of an up-and-coming company. I think they do have a little web camera out there that's made for YoloBox. Not 100% on that, so don't quote me on that. But the one thing I can say about the YoloBox is that they're constantly listening to their client base and pushing out updates. I mean, even since I got this, I was like, you know, there was like 3 updates since they sent it to me, and that's pretty amazing. And each update was, you know, something that you could do. Like one was enabling the NDI, and then I think one of it was like at first you couldn't record the USB camera inputs in the ISO recordings, and now you can. And there's like several other little bug fixes and stuff like that they just pay attention. You know, they're in the social media network groups looking at what people are posting, so they know what they need to work on. So that is a great thing. None of that's happening with SlingStudio. YoloBox Ultra, you can bring in remote callers, okay? So what's cool about that is that you can send out a link to somebody, like say they're on a cell phone with a cell phone camera, or they're on a laptop and they have a webcam or whatever device they have with a camera that they can look at an email. You can open up that email, click on the link, and it brings you to a web page where you can actually see the program feed of the live stream, and then in another smaller window you can see yourself. And then you can join the stream, and then they can bring in your audio and everything, and it worked great for like a man on the street or like some kind of remote interview situation where you're out in the somewhere where you don't have plug-in internet or Wi-Fi or whatever, and you could totally like just use your cell phone with that connection, and you could participate in the live stream. Some things that I don't think either one of these two have is there are the comment overlays from social media websites like Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. If somebody makes a comment while you're live streaming, you can bring those comments over. You can bring in those comments and overlay them on the video, so those people watching can see that they're also participating in your live stream, which is pretty awesome. You can bring in the NDI cameras. They could be wireless as long as they're on the same network. They can be wired, but then you could bring those in as additional camera sources on the YoloBox Ultra, but these other devices do not have NDI capabilities. You can also send out NDI to those to other devices, like you can send your stream, or you can choose whatever camera stream you want to send out to those NDI devices. What else can I say here? There's like built-in scoreboard system in the YoloBox Ultra. These other two devices do not have a built-in scoreboard that I am aware of. There's all kinds of customization for any graphic, any scoreboard, anything like that. I do believe they all have auto switching, where you can just set it up to switch between the camera sources automatically, so you don't have to keep pressing on it to switch. With the YoloBox Ultra, you can stream up to 4K resolution to any platform that accepts 4K streaming. SlingStudio, there's no 4K there. They were made before the cameras had 4K in them, or 4K was just new. The Atem Mini, I don't believe the Atem Mini Pro can do 4K, but they do have other 4K models that you can get for a little bit more extra of a cost. I feel like I've gone through quite a bit of things with these live streaming, multi-camera switching devices. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really going to go with what your use case is going to be and what you prefer. Some people prefer tactile buttons here and being able to see it on a large screen, and they don't care that they have to bring a table and a laptop and all this stuff. Because a lot of times when you're live streaming, you might have your camera operators out there with the cameras, but then there's a person doing the cutting and everything like that. So if you have that type of situation, in like a large professional, maybe the Atem systems are better for you. But if you wanted to do social media, comment overlays, interaction, stuff like that, if you wanted to bring in live callers, you'd have to figure out a different solution for that. If you wanted to have a scoreboard, you have to figure out, with the Atem Mini, it's a little limited. It's got some features built in, but if you wanted some more advanced things built in, like web overlays and stuff like that, you're going to have to bring in like another person probably to do that. With the SlingStudio, it's kind of the same. It has a few basic things built into it, but if you want anything more advanced, you're not going to bring in any callers, you're not bringing in any comment overlays. It does have overlay features, but they're a little limited, and they don't have a bunch of customization for the stuff they do have in there. And not to mention, SlingStudio is dead in the water. They're not making any more, so they're done. YoloBox Ultra, you have everything here. You got the Ethernet, you can have up to 7 live cameras to cut between at one time. Not to mention bringing in the NDI cameras, which would make, I think you could bring up to 2 or 3 of those. Another cool thing that YoloBox can do that I don't believe these other two can do is, say you have another YoloBox and you have a colleague that's live streaming something that you want to bring that stream into your live stream. You can totally do that. If you have multiple YoloBoxes all on the same account and they're doing live streams, any of those YoloBoxes can bring in any of the other YoloBox live streams into their live stream. So that's a pretty cool thing that you could do. Like if you wanted to do something where you're like, hey, these people are in New York and these people are in California and these people are in Hong Kong, and it's like a big New Year's event or something like that. You could have all of those all coming in all at the same time, and you could cut between them, like if you were doing like a big New Year's Eve show or whatever. So, like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what your use case is. SlingStudio, probably not. Atem Mini, if you want to have that tactile feel and large screens, that you'll have to additionally bring. But I think if you're going to be like a one-man band and you want to be able to, you could just you have a quarter 20 under here, you can just connect that right to your tripod with the camera plugged right in. It has a battery that lasted about almost 3.5 hours of streaming, and that's with streaming 6 or 7 cameras plus recording plus graphic overlays and stuff like that. And I got 3 hours out of that. I think with the SlingStudio battery, you might get 3 hours out of this battery. These guys have 2-hour battery limits here. So, you have to have some external control. The Atem, you got to plug it in. There's no battery power unless you have like a, external, battery of some kind. So that's going to wrap it up with the comparison video for these live streaming multi-camera devices. If I missed anything, please leave it in the comments below so we can discuss it later. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.